The courtroom is heavy with silence, heavy enough to be nearly suffocating. Each and every eye in the room is fixed on Kody, stiff in his seat, jaw clenched, hands balled as if he's waiting for a detonation he can't avoid. Opposite him, Robyn sorts her papers, her fingers shaking just barely, but she covers it well. She's waited weeks, possibly months for this moment, and now that it's arrived, the pressure of what she has to say weighs upon her breast. Outside, the summer sun is hot, slanting bright rectangles through tall windows, but within the air is heavy, charged as though everyone can feel the making of history. The judge clears his throat, and the rumble is heard throughout the courtroom, reverberating off the high ceilings and gleaming wood panels. Kody looks at him, eyes darting between Robyn and the vacated jury seats, anticipating the drama that is about to ensue. He is aware that what Robyn is holding in her hand is not merely evidence, it's a bomb waiting to detonate, and he's right in the crosshairs. Robyn breathes in deeply, scanning the courtroom, her eyes unflinching, voice gentle but resolute. "I hadn't expected to talk today," she starts, her voice controlled, near too relaxed, "but I can no longer remain silent." There is a hesitation, long enough for everyone to feel the grip of tension around them, for jurors to lean forward, for Kody to swallow. The murmurs begin at the rear of the room, just above a whisper, like a wave moving through the courtroom. Everyone knows that the serenity she's presenting is false. Underneath, there's a tempest brewing to explode. Christine's gaze tightens, not in incredulity but in expectation, a balance of vindication and terror moving across her face. Janelle fidgets in her seat, fingers wrapped tight around the arm of the bench, as Meri remains still, nearly invisible, but the tension in her jaw gives her away. "You won't believe what happens next." Robyn unzips her briefcase, revealing a tiny digital recorder. The sound of metal clinking on wood rings out like a rifle blast in a silent room. Kody's action is frozen, the pallor rising to his cheekbones as his eyes light with sudden recognition. "Where did you obtain that?" he whispers, but the tone is sufficiently keen to slice through the buzz circulating amongst the gallery crowd. "I taped our conversation," Robyn states, her gaze locking with his. "All of what you said about the money, about the property, about how you've been treating this family, it's all on there." She flips the switch, and the gentle hum of the tape fills the air. Kody's voice comes back to him, unrecognizable, unpolished, every word a sword to his reputation, to the carefully constructed image he's worked so hard for years. The jury settles uncomfortably. The judge leans forward, his eyes narrowing as he listens. There is a silence on the tape, then a nervous laugh from Kody, tense, forced. Robyn's lips compress as she views him, the serene face a mask over a mixture of fear, resolve, and possibly a little regret. She did not want it to go this far, but sometimes things leave no other way. The courtroom doors creak softly, a gentle reminder that the world beyond is still moving. But here, in this place, time stands still. Christine's hand seems to hover at her lips, not wanting to gasp. Janelle's eyes shine with unshed tears, and Meri simply tightens her fists, jaw locked, knuckles pale. Each individual in that room can sense the burden of what is transpiring. Each lie, each betrayal, each secret kept under wraps is now laid bare under the harsh, unforgiving lights. The tension mounts as the tape plays on, revealing economic choices Kody never wanted anyone to hear. Robyn's narration remains steady over the recording, filling in blanks, raising questions about discrepancies, all while using a tone that is even but unmistakably accusatory. Kody squirms in his seat, appearing trapped, the confident facade slipping just a little. His palms sweat, his foot taps nervously beneath the table, and for the first time in years, he is not the master of his domain. The stakes have never been greater, and it's only going to get worse. Outside the courtroom, cameras start snapping, reporters write in haste, but within, every tick of the clock elongates, extending the suspense. The atmosphere is dense, nearly claustrophobic, and you sense the tension as a charged current passing through the room. The wives exchange looks, furtive exchanges of perception and sympathy, but below the surface, waves of resentment, betrayal, and individual motives ripple quietly, waiting to boil over. Robyn's testimony is not words but a weapon, and reckoning. Kody's mouth opens to answer, but the room waits silently, tensed. All eyes are on him, all minds spinning. Will he retaliate? Will he fall apart? Or will this news flip everything the family has constructed on its head? The next thing could tip the scales completely, and no one in that courtroom is ready for the shock that is about to hit them. The judge clears his throat once more, calling for order, but it's become nearly ritualistic at this point. The room has already been on high tension. Robyn sits up straight, looks at the jury for one final time, and her voice rises with each word, emotional but under control. "I loved this family," she says. "I still do, but love cannot excuse deceptions, and I can't let the truth be silenced any further." Kody's face is pale, lips pressed tight. The camera pans across his reactions, capturing a man who has long controlled his image now stripped bare. Christine exhales slowly, almost imperceptibly, and Janelle leans forward, barely able to contain herself. Even Meri, who rarely shows emotion, lets a small shudder pass through her. Everyone knows the next few minutes will define the future of this family, legally, emotionally, and publicly. And then, just as the tension feels unbearable, Robyn pauses, pressing another button on the recorder. A second recording begins, one Kody didn't know existed, one that reveals a betrayal far deeper than anyone expected. The room collectively inhales. Kody's hand twitches. Christine gasps audibly. Janelle's eyes widen, tears now freely flowing. Meri leans forward, bracing herself, and the judge lifts an eyebrow, signaling that the floor is now officially Robyn's. What is on that second tape? And what will Kody do when his well-concealed secrets are completely revealed? Answers are on the way. But here in this courtroom, each disclosure swings open a new door, and each fact has effects that will reverberate far beyond these courtrooms. You won't want to miss one moment of what comes next, because this is a fight where love, duty, and deception collide in ways no one could anticipate. If you've ever questioned what goes down when a family's secrets finally come to light before the law, stick with us, because the next installment is going to blow you away. And believe me, it will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Kody and the sister wives. The courtroom is filled with hushed whispers, as the bailiff announces that everyone needs to take their seat. Kody sits stiff at the defense table, eyes flicking to Robyn, calm now, almost unreally so. But the stiffness in her shoulders gives away her tension. Christine leans forward a little, hands together neatly, though the faint quiver in her fingers betrays her excitement. Janelle fidgets, restless, and Meri crosses her arms, unspoken but listening. The air feels heavy, like a storm about to break, each second stretching longer than the last. The judge enters, robes flowing, steps measured and deliberate. A hush descends over the room. "We will now hear the case of financial mismanagement and family dispute," he states. His voice is firm, authoritative, and the words echo off the walls, resounding in the tension that hangs over everyone. Kody's jaw clenches, a subtle flicker of concern crossing his otherwise controlled face. Robyn stands first, her back straight, shoulders squared, face set but pale. She approaches the witness stand deliberately, her heels clicking on the shiny floor almost hypnotic. The camera captures every step, pausing just enough to catch the tension in her jaw, the slight quiver of her lips, the resolve in her eyes. She turns to face the jury, then the judge, and takes a deep breath, letting it out slowly. "I want to tell the truth today," she begins, voice steady, not just about finances but about trust, loyalty, and how far secrets can stretch before they break a family apart. She pauses, letting the words sink in. The room is silent, save for the faint rustle of papers. Kody shifts in his seat, barely audible, as if trying to make himself smaller, less noticeable. Robyn's eyes lock with Kody's for the shortest of moments. There is history there, layers of experience together, unspoken meaning, and now distrust. "I taped calls because I needed evidence," she goes on, voice cracking slightly. "Evidence the family finances were not being managed as I, and others were misled to think. I did not wish to do this, but honesty required it. And just when you're convinced the truth finally comes out, what follows will blow everything you thought you knew about this family sky high." The prosecutor leans forward, a pile of papers held in front of her. "Miss Robyn, can you tell us what these recordings say?" The question is straightforward, but the significance that lies behind it is gigantic. Robyn takes a breath, looks down at the recorder, and plays it. The gentle hum of Kody's voice permeates the room, each word revealing decisions he made in secret. His voice, once strong, now takes on a defensive quality, almost a guilty tone. The jurors lean forward, brows furrowed, hands to mouths whispering to each other, all enthralled. Christine's lips tighten into a thin line. She's always been direct, unafraid to show her emotions, and now a flicker of triumph dances in her eyes. Janelle bites her lip, trying to restrain a gasp, while Meri's hands clench in her lap, white-knuckled. The impact of the words is palpable. Years of secrets, suspicions, and quiet arguments now erupting in public, each syllable amplifying the tension in the room. Kody opens his mouth to answer, but the judge brings him to silence, with a raised hand. Mr. Brown, wait your turn. The seriousness does nothing to calm him. His gaze darts between Robyn and the jury, fear and frustration written on his face. Each nuance of movement, every change in body language, is watched, increasing the tension that hangs in the air. Robyn goes on, describing the situation surrounding each conversation as the recordings play. She describes inconsistencies, flags misallocated funds, and mysterious transactions. Her voice is measured but assertive, calm but unmistakably accusatory. I attempted to address these problems in private, she states, voice unwavering. But the responses I got did not correspond with what was the actuality of the evidence before me. The room tension heightened. The camera cuts to Kody's face. A droplet of sweat appears at his temple, the fingers drumming a nervous beat on the table. The wives look at each other, a unspoken understanding passing between them. Even Meri, normally aloof, leans forward, brows furrowed. Something larger is happening than anyone had expected, and everyone senses it. The judge requests a brief recess, instructing the jury to leave. The room partially clears, except for the inner family members and their attorneys. Kody stands up, walking slowly, low tone but strained. I didn't think she'd go this far. He scolds himself under his breath. Christine retorts, bite-like, almost cutting off his words. You should have thought about it before making these choices. Robyn remains sitting, gazing at both of them. Her eyes are tranquil, although a slight glint betrays her mood. This isn't personal, she states softly, voice bordering on a whisper. It's about truth, and sometimes truth isn't comfortable to hear. The second session of the day opens with increased ferocity. New evidence is presented. Bank statements, contracts, and handwritten notes. Each piece of paper depicts secrecy and miscommunication. Each discovery another level of tension between Kody and the wives. Robyn takes the jury through the details, her voice steady, even as the room is filled with anticipation. Each revelation raises more questions, and you won't believe the secrets waiting just around the corner. Kody's defense starts tentatively. He offers his account of what happened, his words measured, attempting to take back control. But each denial is countered with Robyn's calm but devastating testimony. She reads him, she anticipates, she counters with subtlety, each response closing the noose around his credibility. The tension is electric. A game of chess, not on the board but on truth, perception and feeling. Outside the courtroom, summer heat pounds against the windows. Within, the air is heavy with tension, the aroma of smooth wood and scent of faint perfume mixing with the adrenaline in the air. Each silence, each look, each unuttered word is heavy with meaning. The history of the family, their betrayals, their unspoken resentments, all hang suspended in the air, palpable and smothering. Christine finally reclines, a tiny smirk playing at the edge of her lips. She knows that the tide is turning. Janelle dabs a tear away, hardly registering, while Meri tightens her lips, but her eyes indicate tempestuous emotion. Kody rises, adjusting his tie, attempting to keep face, but the fissures in his confidence are now more apparent by the second. As the day works its way toward adjournment, Robyn collects her notes, the recorder safely stored away. She regards Kody for a final time, the serenity in her eyes masking a hurricane of emotion. This isn't over, she whispers, as much to herself as a threat. The court will reconvene tomorrow, but a mysterious envelope arrives for Robyn just as she steps out. Its contents could change everything. Will it reveal another secret? Or is it something more dangerous? The courtroom reopens the following morning. Sunlight blazes fairly through the tall windows, cutting rigid shadows on the highly polished wood floors. The air is charged with tension. Everyone in the room senses it, a fine crackling like electricity before lightning. Kody sits stiff at the defense table, fingers drumming anxiously against the highly polished wood. His face is white, jaw clenched, eyes darting towards Robyn, who remains calm, nearly serene. but for the tense clench of her fist. The judge enters with deliberate strides, robes flowing, voice steady but firm. "We will proceed with the case," he declares. There is no question in his voice. The seriousness of the proceedings is unmistakable. Kody gulps hard, fidgeting in his seat, casting a glance in Christine's direction. She shoots him a small, barely perceptible shake of the head, her eyes narrowing. There is no quarter here. No forgiveness, only the harsh, biting reality of exposure. Robyn stands up once more, moving toward the witness stand. Her footsteps ring out in the courtroom, pulsating like the drumbeat, warning the crowd that the storm is raging. She sets the envelope she received yesterday down on the table, inching it toward the prosecutor. It's sealed, cryptic, and immediately heightens the anxiety. Kody's eyes expand when he sees it. His mouth opens then clamps shut as he becomes aware of what could be coming. What is in that envelope could ruin everything Kody has built, and you won't believe the secrets it holds. Robyn inhales deeply and speaks to the court. This was received just before today's hearing. She states calmly but with a sense of urgency. It has information I didn't anticipate, but it flips the context of all the things we've talked about so far. The prosecutor gently opens the envelope, pulling out a sheaf of documents and photographs. The camera glances over Kody's face as he takes them in, shock, fear, and disbelief streaming through, in quick succession. Christine leans forward, wide-eyed. "I knew there was more," she grumbles to herself. Janelle's hands tremble a little as she clutches her purse. Even Meri, typically stoic, inclines forward, clenched jaw, narrowed eyes, the turmoil within her barely suppressed. All the wives are taking in what is happening in different ways, but the shared tension in the room is unmistakable. The first is a set of bank statements that contain previously unknown financial transactions. Kody's name is found in association with strange accounts, showing that money had been transferred without his wife's knowledge. Robyn walks the jury through the facts, her voice steady but biting, pointing out each inconsistency. "These transactions reveal patterns of secrecy," she says, "and they were deliberately kept hidden from the family." Kody stands up, trying to interrupt, but the judge quiets him with an authoritative wave of his hand. His face furrows in frustration. "Mr. Brown, you will have your chance to reply." His fingers tap anxiously against the table. Each gesture is monitored, each spasm recorded in exquisite detail. Robyn goes on, producing photos from the envelope. They are of property repairs, purchases, and even meeting receipts. Kody went to separately, all connected with money that was supposed to be jointly handled. Each one adds another piece to the narrative, a visual validation of the testimony. The air in the room is charged with tension. Christine sits back a little, breathing slowly. There is a combination of vindication and fear in her eyes. She's always been sharp, intuitive, and now her instincts tell her the family's carefully maintained facade is cracking. Janelle dabs at her eyes, while Meri's lips press tight, her fingers gripping her knee. Robyn, however, maintains her calm, controlled exterior. Even as her mind races, she knows the weight of her revelation. This is a moment she can't reverse. The second part of the envelope contains a letter, written in a hurried hand, alleging that Kody had misrepresented information to several family members over time. The handwriting is shaky, almost frantic, but the content is damning. Robyn reads portions aloud, her voice rising slightly as the emotional stakes climb. "This letter corroborates much of what we've already discussed," she explained, "and it reveals that the secrecy may have been ongoing for years." The air is charged. Kody's hands shake infinitesimally as he readjusts his tie, attempting to keep himself in check. His stern demeanor is crumpling under the strain of unassailable proof. The judge observes intently, cataloging every response, every tiny flutter of fear. The wives glance at each other, unspoken messages filtering between them, as if sharing tacit recognition of the shift in power in the prosecutor leans forward, voice steady but firm. "Miss Robyn, why did you wait to bring this evidence?" Robyn looks the prosecutor in the eye, unblinking. "I wanted to address these matters in private first," she says, "but once it became obvious that honesty was I had no choice." Her voice holds both determination and quiet sorrow. The emotional undertone echoes. Kody finally breaks his silence, his voice strained. "This isn't true," he says, his words failing to ring with truth. His body, however, tells the lie first. Shoulders rolled up, eyes squinting. He's a picture of defensiveness. The judge's raised eyebrow means that he will scrutinize the veracity of each utterance carefully. Kody's former confidence, so complete and unconditional, has been shattered. "Despite your shock at the end, By the time you reach it, you'll be predisposed to believe. As the session continues, attention turns from physical evidence to personal confrontation. Robyn discusses off-the-record conversations with Kody, instances that do not only tell of secrecy betrayal. Her voice shifts from cautious calm to soft intensity, echoing the emotional risks each disclosure carries. Christine interrupts once, voice harsh and emotive, questioning choices long buried beneath states of polite smiles and family appearance. Janelle crumbles silently at one point, silent tears falling, as she hears Kody's words read from the transcript. Even Meri, normally poised, releases a tiny sigh of exasperation, the guilt bearing down on her. The jurors are visibly inclining forward, murmuring to one another, drawn by the drama unfolding before them. All is magnified in this tension. A raised eyebrow, a deepened breath, a hesitation in testimony. The meeting becomes dramatic, as Robyn brings out a voice recording of Kody talking to a business partner, making reference to money and assets without sharing them with his wives. The voice is distinct, explicit, and undoubtedly incriminating. Kody goes on ice, his lips clamped tightly together, his face changing shock to rage, fear, in quick succession. The room falls silent, people holding their breath. Christine, a satisfied spark in her eye, as Janelle's hand rushes to cover her mouth in shock. Meri is not easy, but the clenching of her jaw betrays the storm brewing. Robyn observes them all, her calm gaze deceiving the emotional sacrifice this moment demands. She knows the next few minutes may make all the difference. The judge holds a brief recess, announcing that the remainder of the hearing will involve tests from other members of the family and additional evidence examination. The court clears, and the wives congregate in a corner. There is tension there. Christine makes the first comment, voice low but angry. "This is not over by a long shot," she states. Janelle nods her head vigorously, eyes wide. Meri says nothing, but her look is fierce, intent. Robyn's hands shake a little as she folds her document, the burden of the secrets she has uncovered weighing on her shoulder. Just when the court is poised, another witness materializes, someone who could utterly disrupt everything Kody ever believed was in private. Their evidence threatens to expose secrets Robyn did not see coming, and the courtroom awaits the storm of things and law that is soon to ensue. The courtroom is charged as the doors open. A new witness steps in, and their arrival immediately changes the atmosphere. Whispers spread through the gallery, and all eyes trail behind them as they enter stand. Kody's shoulders bristle, his hands white-knuckled as they cling to the edge of the table for support. Robyn's gaze tightened, her poised demeanor concealing a blend of tension. She is aware this testimony might untangle even more than the evidence has already. The judge brings to order, "Please give your name and connection." The witness, a family friend close to family years and privy to family dynamics, clears his throat. His voice is calm but has an edge of it that has everyone's attention. "My name is Daniel," he starts. "I've known this family for more than a decade, and I have knowledge of decisions made, decisions that have a direct impact on all of the wives." Kody swallows the faint tremor in his voice, betraying his usually controlled demeanor. Christine leans forward, a mix of curiosity and into her eyes. Janelle's fingers clutch her, knuckles white, while Meri's hands are folded tense, reflecting the storm inside. Robyn sits forward slightly, signaling that the revelations about to unfold change everything. Daniel's testimony is caution at start, describing instances of dishonest deception that Kody practiced. Every story is specific, definitive, and verifiable, and it creates a narrative of a man tightly managing while keeping wives in the dark. Kody shifts uncomfortably, looking at his lawyers, whose faces are hiding their concern cannot articulate. The doors to courtroom open once. The sun of late afternoon seems to cast long, dramatic shadow on the highly polished floor. The atmosphere today is heavy, thick with tension. Kody is seated at the defense, his hands wrapped around the edge so hard that his knuckles are white. His normal controlled and his face is stretched taut with visible tension. Across, Robyn sits poised, notes neatly stacked, eyes sharp and unwavering. Christine leans forward slightly, elbows resting on the table, finger twined, her eyes fixed on Kody with a mixture of suspicion. Janelle shifts nervously, while Meri's arms remain folded, jaw tight, silence coming. The judge comes in, robes billow, face somber. "We will proceed," he declares, voice steady, authoritative. Each word rings out in the courtroom, a drum beat off the walls. Cody swallows hard, looking across at his faces are impassive. He knows the next chapter's trial will not only, but the emotion social percussion. Robyn gets up and precedes the witness, her heels clicking sharply shiny, each stride a threatening reminder. She places a small pile of documents and gazes straight at. "There's more," she starts, her tone, but with a quiet energy that claims a more of secret, more seconds that have left a dent in. "And today the truth isn't, it's blowing up. And to blow everybody in this court."
The prosecutor heads, cute to reveal the next batch of evidence. Tentative she glides photographs, text message, emails, stids. Each paper document had made without consults wife. Business transactions, property acquisition. The jurors forward, murmuring quietly, transfixed by the Kody's eyes dart nervously his wife. The pressure exposed. Christine strummed lightly, a subtle display of agitation. I've known something wasn't right, she says quietly, almost herself, though loud enough for Janelle. Janelle nods slightly, her eyes, even Meri attached, sits forward, fists clenched her lap. Her expression. Robyn starts describing the background in soft X and sub, pointing out the impact of every sentence, leaving the courtroom a strained hush. Kody, a flash of passing, as if he finally cautioning up for so is now to the eyes. Abruptly a gasp in the gallery. The jury in courtroom, a young, holding folder. The judge lifts an eyebrow. Prompt, you're on the young man's state, voicing slightly. I have a direct connection made on him without his eyes flutter, who sucks a harsh, his fingers wrapping tighter, and just when the Fritz cannot get an explosive revelation.
Robyn gestures for the young man to continue. As he opens the folder, photographs and scanned receipts spill onto the stand. Each document exposes more financial discrepancies, unauthorized transactions, and hidden agreements. The courtroom reacts instantly. Christine leans forward, jaw tight, eyes narrowing. Janelle lets out a soft sob, wiping her eyes with a handkerchief, while Meri's body stiffens, knuckles white. Kody's face is pale, lips pressed tight, struggling to maintain composure. The prosecutor advances, indicating a particular group of documents. Mr. Brown, why were these transactions concealed from your wives? Kody swallows hard, his voice strained. I believed it was in the best interest of the family, he replies, each word sounding more and more hollow. The judge's face is inscrutable, eyes locked on him, expecting a more robust explanation. Robyn goes on, showing text messages that expose personal conversations Kody shared with business partners and friends, dialogues that demonstrate he deliberately withheld key facts from his own family. The jury leans forward, drawn into the drama unfolding before them. Each utterance, every shred of evidence, is a kick in the teeth to the public persona Kody has spent years cultivating. Christine stands, voice shaking with anger. I trusted you, she tells Kody, her eyes blazing. I gave you everything, and this is how you show me you trust me. Her words linger in the air like a thundercloud about to burst. Janelle quietly weeps, her voice trembling, while Meri stays firm but tightly wound, as though every part of her body was clenched and waiting to unspool. The session becomes increasingly frenetic when Robyn presents a recording, one Kody believed was wiped clean. His voice, once strong, now sounds with fear and incredulity. The recording catches him confessing to choices made in secrecy, starkly differing from his earlier testimony. Kody's hands tremble a little, and his eyes dart rapidly about the courtroom. Even the judge's brow creases momentarily, recognizing the weight of the new evidence. And just when it appears Kody may bounce back, some last piece of evidence falls, one nobody expected. Not even the wives. The final revelation is a series of letters from former associates, confirming that Kody intentionally misled his wives about major financial decisions. Each letter is read aloud, every word another strike against him. The wives react instinctively. Christine's eyes glisten with unshed tears. Janelle wipes her face, and Meri's expression hardens, a storm of emotion barely contained. Robyn maintains her calm, though the quiet quiver in her hands betrays her own emotional turmoil. Kody stands up, shaking voice, trying to justify himself. I did what I felt was best, he asserts, but the courtroom responds with gasps and incredulous stares. His words, now weak, are no match for evidence and sentiment against him. As the session comes to an end, the judge requests a brief recess. The courtroom clears slightly, leaving the wives and Kody in the middle of an uneasy silence. In the outside world, life goes on as usual, unaware of the tempest within. Within each look, each slight gesture is laden with the past, present, and future. Just as the session breaks, Kody reads a private note from an anonymous source, a threat that can threaten even more than his reputation. The message is cryptic, foreboding, and suggests even more hidden secrets to come. What will come of it when the court resumes? And how will Kody react when faced with the whole truth? And just when you believe you've seen the whole scope of the secrets, a bombshell drops that no one, not even the wives, saw coming. Robyn interrupts at one point to clarify facts, her tone even but weighted with authority. Daniel's testimony upholds what we had thought, she describes. Decisions were taken in secret, and the effect has been huge. Her gaze shoots to Kody, unflinching, as if challenging him to react. Kody opens his mouth, closes it, then finally speaks, voice low and indignant. These are exaggerations, he offers, though the absence of conviction deflates the declaration. The courtroom is quiet, as Daniel shares evidence in the form of emails, invoices, and memos that support his findings. Each document is another brick in the wall of evidence that Kody has been secretive about revealing critical information to his wives. The air in the room is heavy, nearly oppressive, as every new development is added to the already charged energy. Christine leans forward sharply, voice cutting through the murmur of the room. I've asked for honesty for years, she says, eyes blazing. And time again, it's been denied. Now the truth is here. Her words reverberate, the emotional intensity palpable. Janelle's hand flies to her mouth, stifling a gasp, while Meri's jaw tightens, her expression unreadable but stormy. Robyn keeps her composure, though the small quiver in her hand betrays the emotional toll. As the session goes on, a damning bit of evidence is revealed. An audio recording of Kody speaking about family finances in detail, disclosing intentions that contradict earlier statements to the wives. The audio plays quietly at first, then louder still, and each word rings out like a hammer blow. Kody stiffens, staring wide-eyed, as he realizes the significance of what is being revealed. His confident air deserts him, replaced by palpable panic. Daniel's account comprises instances of emotional outbursts with Kody that were never meant to become public. His memories are vivid, the tension, raised voices, pleading, and occasional tears that punctuated private discourse. The jury leans in, entranced, and even the judge's stern face wrinkles into a relaxed consideration as he takes in the human dimension over and above the legal facts. Robyn stands, her voice firm but trembling with emotion. I did not want any of this made public, she says, voice shaking but barely. But honesty necessitated action, and the family should know the truth, the whole truth, and not just selectively presented. Her words linger in the room, hanging in a momentary silence that is almost overwhelming. And just when the courtroom believes it's heard it all, there is a stunning accusation unveiled that rattles the family to its very foundation. The accusation is from a place no one expected. Daniel describes a closed-door conversation in which Kody suggested a preference for confidentiality over openness, even when it was detrimental to trust between the wives. The courtroom responds in turn. Christine gasps loudly, Janelle blots away tears, and Meri sits stiff, jaw clenched, silently drinking in the sting of betrayal. Kody's fingers shake as he adjusts his tie, beads of sweat at his temple. The confident, put-together facade he presented for years is now disintegrating. Robyn takes a breath, letting the weight of the testimony settle. This isn't about blame, she says softly, almost pleading. It's about accountability. We've all loved this family, all wanted it to succeed, but secrecy and manipulation cannot be the foundation. Her gaze shifts across the courtroom, lingering on each wife, then finally on Kody. There's pain in her eyes, but also resolve, a determination to stand by the truth, no matter how difficult. The judge leans forward, voice measured, Mr. Brown, what do you say to these claims? Kody challenges himself to stand, his eyes darting from the judge to Robyn, to the wives, to Daniel. These are misconceptions, he says, voice tight and defiant. I've always done what was best for the family. His words seem to hover in the air, but their impact is dampened. The evidence is too great, the emotions too fresh, the testimony too sharp. Outside of court, the atmosphere is thick with expectation. Within every nuance, the groan of the wooden floor, the clear of papers, the faint alterations of facial expression, heightens the drama. The family's allegiances are subtly shifting. Christine and Robyn share a fleeting nod. Janelle silently stands in support of them, while Meri is thoughtful, weighing each discovery. Suddenly there is an interruption. A new revelation, sprung on everyone without warning, has been handed to the judge by a secret source. Inside the envelope are pictures and messages, which imply that Kody himself might have known about further problems than had yet been disclosed. There is a ripple of gasps around the courtroom. The wives lean forward, their faces a mixture of shock and alarm. Kody's face goes white, lips parting very slightly, his mask of calm cracking. As the judge indicates to see the new evidence, a personal altercation flares up between Robyn and Kody. Words are thrown around, feelings are heated, and the courtroom is filled with tension that spills over into the legal boundary. Will Kody at last recognize the magnitude of the truth, or will a new secret blow up in the courtroom? The courtroom weighs more heavily than ever upon us, as each takes their seat. The air is charged with anticipation, the atmosphere electric, thick with tension. Kody slouches at the defense table, shoulders curled in, hands locked in front of him. His gaze darts nervously to Robyn, who sits erect, a resolution formed in lines on her face. Christine leans forward, eyes keen, scrutinizing each micro-expression Kody provides, as Janelle shifts uncomfortably, palpably tense. Meri remains seated with an expressionless face, but her clenched fists and tightened jawline give away the hurricane raging behind her unflappable facade. The judge comes into the room, enforcing silence with one wave of his hand. We proceed with the questioning of evidence and witnesses, he declares. His tone is one of authority, but even his words are unable to still the emotional tension thrumming through the courtroom. Kody's attorneys exchange rapid, worried glances. They are aware that today may be the day that turns everything forever on its head. Robyn ascends to the witness stand, her heels clicking smartly on the gleaming floor, as she moves with measured, deliberate steps. She leaves a folder on the stand and breathes deeply. Her gaze roams over the room before coming to rest on Kody. There's more to tell, she says, her tone even but serrated with steel. The truth isn't so much about money, it's about trust, lies and choices, with consequences far greater than anyone could ever have imagined. The prosecutor turns, inclining toward Robyn, indicating she can go ahead. She slowly opens the folder and starts showing documents, emails, and photos that speak volumes about Kody's doings in the back of the family. One after another, they narrate tales of secrecy, deception, and lack of accountability. The jurors lean forward, drawn into the drama, as Kody visibly tightens, his lips compressing into a thin line. Christine suddenly utters a low, sharp voice, breaking into the strained silence of the courtroom. This isn't about money, she states. It's about all the times we trusted, and all the times that trust was betrayed. Her gaze pierces Kody, unflinching. Janelle fidgets, eyes wide, wiping away tears that are starting to fall. Meri's face is still calm, but white-knuckled grip on the table indicates a tempest barely suppressed. Robyn goes on in her testimony, shifting between placid explanation and bursts of fierce feeling, relating private talks with Kody that betrayed his duplicity. The courtroom is in rapt attention, the tension thick as a cloud. She describes times when she tried to call him out in private, only to be deflected or dismissed. I wanted honesty, transparency. She speaks softly, voice shaking slightly, but I got secrets instead, and the effect on all of us has been deep. Kody eventually stands, voice quivering ever so slightly, trying to stand up for himself. I did what was best for the family, he declares, but the confidence in his tone has gone. His eyes dart nervously between the judge, jurors, and wives, betraying the pressure building on him. The room closes in on him, each gaze and furtive movement exaggerated, mirroring the import of the disclosures. Abruptly, a new series of photographs is released. These capture intimate moments Kody assumed were not seen by anyone. Business meetings with associates, financial matters, and personal notes intended to be secret. The photos show actions taken in secrecy, and without her consent or consultation. Christine leans forward abruptly, her voice strained. I don't believe this, she breathes, her head shaking. Janelle's hand flies to her mouth, stifling a sob, while Meri's eyes harden, her jaw locked tight. Kody's face pales, the composure he has tried to maintain slipping further with each revelation. Robyn moves forward, her calm but assertive presence filling the room. This isn't personal, she says, locking eyes with Kody. It's about consequences of decisions made in private, decisions that impact trust, family, and integrity. We can no longer pretend it doesn't exist. Her words resonate in the room, pulsing like a heartbeat, each syllable laden with meaning. The session heats up when Daniel, who is a friend of the family, returns to the witness stand. His own testimony brings richness and validation to the developing narrative, describing times when he saw Kody's private behavior that conflicted with his public words. Each story reveals dishonesty,
moving the jury and the courtroom more against him. Kody's hands shake ever so slightly, his eyes racing frantically, as he begins to see his carefully constructed persona disintegrating. Christine stands abruptly, her voice tight and passionate. "I gave everything to this family," she says, her eyes welling with tears, "and this is how honesty is rewarded. With secrecy, with manipulation." The courtroom stirs, whispers spread through the crowd. Janelle's gentle weeping fills the almost silent room, while Meri sits in a stillness, though her body language is tense, every muscle drawn tight with contained emotion. Robyn's eyes flash faintly as she observes the responses, the weight of their collective past bearing down upon her. Kody tries to reply, but his voice falters beneath the triple weight of evidence, witness testimony and emotion. He opens his lips then closes them, searching frantically for a defense to hold up to the building torrent. His hands move restlessly, drumming against the table, revealing his agitation. A dramatic moment occurs when Robyn presents a recorded conversation that Kody believed had been erased. The audio plays clearly, capturing admissions that contradict his previous statements in court. Kody freezes, eyes widening, his composure cracking under the undeniable truth. Christine leans back slightly, her expression a mix of disbelief and vindication. Janelle covers her face, muffling a sob, while Meri's eyes narrow, a storm of anger and disappointment evident. The judge stops, allowing the gravity of the recording to settle over the courtroom. The silence descends like a thick blanket, the tension almost becoming too much to bear. The jurors are transfixed, intently focused, aware of the seriousness of what has been unveiled. Kody lowers himself slowly into his seat, gasping harshly. His defenses breached, leaving him vulnerable in front of both court and loved ones. As the session draws to a close, Robyn speaks to the court for the last time that day. "I've tried to do it gently, to address what needed addressing in private," she says, her tone steady but laced with emotion. "But the truth cannot be kept secret. We have to confront it, together if we are ever going to heal." She looks over at Kody, eyes resolute, then back at the wives, silently recognizing the shared suffering and strength. The judge grants a brief recess, and the courtroom slowly drains, as the sun outside sets lower, its shadows stretching across the building, and the emotional burdens within linger like a storm cloud over a reluctant horizon. Kody stacks his papers, his shoulders sagging, as Christine, Janelle, and Meri find their own individual ways to absorb the disclosure. Anger, sorrow, and introspection intertwined. Robyn gathers her things quietly, the tranquility in her expression concealing the tempest of feelings she has weathered. As all prepare to continue, an unexpected knock breaks the pace of activity. A discreet note is slipped to Kody. He reads it, eyes expanding, jaw clenching as the message takes hold. The letter teases secrets even deeper than today's revelation. Secrets which might rewrite the family's definition of loyalty, trust, and betrayal. Kody's hands tremble slightly as he folds it, a grim realization dawning on him that the fight is far from over. The wives observe his response, exchanging slight glances. Christine's eyes squint, Janelle nibbles her lip, and Meri is unreadable but taut. Robyn observes in silence, the quiver of nervousness flashing across her feature, knowing tomorrow will see even greater disclosure, confrontation, and choices that can leave indelible marks. As the courtroom closes, the strain lingers around the family like a hurricane waiting to erupt. Everyone is aware that the next hearing may demolish everything: reputation, trust, and possibly even the tenuous connections that still exist.